Off your mind, it's okay. Off your mind,
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego diary politico, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle so they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say my ego
don't come. Good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live. Story about the late in starting this. It's quite it's quite a complicated issue, but finally we will be doing it tonight. I have with me well on the line so far, that will be Barrister Yele Sowore. So you know him. It's not new to some of my friends of Mayegun's Diary. I love to hear from him as well. He's one of those who believe that Nigeria is not working. Nigeria won't work as it is currently structured. However, it doesn't believe in the breakup of Nigeria. But we would like to hear from him too. I mean, you would like to hear from him too. Let's see from his own point of views how he sees Nigeria with the level Nigeria is currently at right now. Where does he see Nigeria and Nigerians and Nigerian rulers in the next few years? So we'll be bringing him on on tonight, and that is Barrister Yele Sowore. For those of you who really recognizes him very well. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you? Good evening, brother. How are you doing?
Can you hear me, by the way? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
Barrister says that the audio seems to be off. One sec. I'm going to try and fix something on that. Oh, that's terrible. So, can you hear me right now?
It is better.
It is better now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's check with our viewers and see. One moment. But you can hear me very well, sir. Yeah.
I can work with it. It's not as good as it.
Do you mind if I take you off? Yeah, sorry about that. Do you mind if I take you off and then you rejoin again?
No, that's my problem. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's try that, sir. Yeah, I'll try it again. Yeah, one sec. Sorry about that, guys. We're having that issue. One moment. So I'm going to wait for him to rejoin us. We are having issue with the audio. Okay. Yeah, there's been some constant interference from his own device there, but we will try it again, and hopefully that fixes it in a way. But while we do that, remember, you can, if you are yet to subscribe on Mayegun's Diary political channel, do it now, so that whenever Mayegun is live, you will not be missing out on anything, remember. And if you haven't really shared the broadcast, you should try and do that as well. But let me know if we are still having issue with the audio, especially from your own device. If you can possibly hear me clearly, let me know. And if I'm having issue with you, my viewers too, I can easily go deal with that. So let's go bring Barrister Dele Farutimi back. One sec. While we wait, remember, you can use the opportunity to share this broadcast. I will be back in a minute, okay? Oh, I think it's back with us. Hopefully that fixed the problem for us. Let's see. Barrister.
Collington.
So it seems to be connected, to have connected very well now, sir.
No, this is better. I can hear you better
Pretty
now.
much better.
There was a lot of stuttering in the background, but that's not there now, so it's better.
It's pretty much better. So happy New Year, Barrister.
Same to you, brother. Nice to see you.
2020, yeah, 2020 was filled with its own drama. And from the moment you have decided to take off, the veil completely and come out and identify with this generation, most importantly, 2020 was a year. And here we are, 2021. Is it better now? Is it okay there?
We'll work with it. Don't worry. We'll work with it.
Okay. So this is 2021. What do you think? At least with so much expectation of 2020 with the young people and all that, 2021, we are back to it again. And there seems to be no changes, nothing. Nothing is looking different.
For me, well, 2021 is an interesting year for me because I look at the Nigerian landscape and I realize that 2021 is going to be a year of decision for a lot of us. I have heard people waxing lyrical about how much change is going to be wrought in the Nigerian state by 2023. They are already encouraging themselves to go and get PVCs, join political parties. I'm hearing a lot of these, and I'm just laughing at the naivety of those pushing these agendas and these talks, because all you really have to do is look at the objective realities on the ground, and you realize very quickly that 2021 is actually the year of decision for the Nigerian nation, if it would ever be. And it is actually the year when the Nigerian state would have to decide whether it would continue to exist or if it is just going to collapse under the weight of the several lies that we have continued to tell ourselves as a people. So 2021 is going to be a very interesting year. The Nigerian people have, we've always managed to dig holes into walls. When we get pushed to the wall, we dig ourselves a hole into the wall and then keep running, and then we get to the next wall and we'll dig another hole into the wall because we really turn around to face our pursuers. But I think, unfortunately for the evil, rapacious monsters who pretend to rule Nigeria but are in actual fact ruining it, they don't know when to stop. And I think they might actually have pushed to the last war. They've pushed the Nigerian people so far that there is really nowhere for them to be pushed any longer.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we are still
generation that was not.
We are still having that problem of cracky audio. I don't know if you can feel that. At the end, at the other end there too. We're still having that.
That's exactly what I was complaining about earlier as well.
It started well, right? It was pretty much like was going to be all right. Then it started cracking up and all of that. I'm going to try something. I'm so sorry that it's not going on smoothly as planned, but we are going to try it again, sir. Okay? Because I'm really, really, really interested in this conversation. The little time we are going to have with you out of your busy time.
No problem.
Okay? So let me still try it for the second time, sir. Something is really working against my guest audio, but you can tell now that it is going to be an interesting conversation if the audio can at least stay clear. Okay, I don't know what could be the problem, but I'm going to try to fix it the next time I bring him on. Now you are going to enjoy this conversation, even if you are not going to agree 100% with all he will be saying. Trust me, it is going to be an experience tonight. So share the broadcast. Tell your friends, tell them Mayegu is live. I've done the same, and I think you should, while we fix the audio problem tonight, the moment he rejoins. Okay, so please bear with me. Let me get something out. Meanwhile, while we wait, let me go fix the audio part and see if that works for us in a moment.
Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Gómìnà kówó jẹ. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me now, by the way? Yeah, the audio. Let's see.
Are you sure the DSS have not managed to crack your station code, or what's going on?
I don't know what is going on, but can you hear me now?
I will try my best to work with it, but
your voice seems so clear.
That static right there again.
It is still there. One moment. I'm going to try something out. Just stay on for me for a moment. Echo cancellation. So what do we have? What about now?
I don't know exactly what the issue is, but if you can hear me at your own end, what I'll say is this.
Once I can hear you, it's pretty much clearer.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah. You can?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, sir. Really sorry about that. You see all this tech stuff. No, well, we should be grateful that. So you were telling us earlier that you saw, or you believe that there were so much gains made last year by all manner of a group of Nigerians who have reacted to the wrong things that we all condemn, and then you believe that since these guys are sort of never going to back down. They're not going to change. So if they continue this way, the doom may even come this year before 2023. You were telling us that earlier. Can you please elaborate? Mm-hmm.
I was explaining to you that anyone who is still busy imagining that they have until 2023 are merely wasting their time, because we really don't have the luxury of that time. The rulers would want us to focus on 2023 as some magical date by which Nigeria's problems would disappear. I remember when I was growing up, Nigeria was going to have electricity by the year 2020. We were going to it was actually the year 1990. They kept moving the goalpost until it became the year 2020, and then Nigeria was going to get better by the year 2015. And then it became the year 2019. Now they are saying we should wait until 2023. Reality is that Nigeria really does not have that time. If Nigeria does not get his act together like yesterday, he's about to collapse under the weight of his own life.
Sorry to cut you. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there again. Can you help us put the camera a bit more on your face? You seem to be like halfway. Yeah, that's better now. So we can see your,
Does this work?
Thank you so much. Yeah, you
Okay.
can continue. The audio is perfect now, by the way. Please.
Yeah, I was just explaining that we really don't have all these 2023 talks. People should forget about it. There are so many inherent contradictions in the entity called Nigeria, and those contradictions are beginning to crystallize, and there are basic questions being asked of the Nigerian structure that cannot really wait until 2023 to be answered. People already know that regardless of where you come from in Nigeria, even if your village man is the president of Nigeria or the governor of your state, it does not insulate you from the insanity that has already overtaken all of us. So as long as you do not deal with the overarching problems of structural imbalances, institutional injustice, systemic wickedness, the lack of citizenship, if those are not addressed and you are waiting until 2023, you are just merely wasting time and seeking to postpone the evil day. Admittedly, the person who pretends to rule Nigeria doesn't have the intellectual capacity to grasp the problem. That's fine. But the rest of us cannot pretend that we are not seeing what we are seeing. How do you think we can continue like this when there is a systemic pauperization of the middle class and the lower class is being strangulated, and you expect that there would not be disruptions within the system in response to these constraints? There will be. And those disruptions
When you mentioned, sorry about that. When you mentioned the middle class, sir, right?
Yeah.
The last time you were on Mayegun's diary, you said, specifically that when the middle class are finally affected by all the, like you always put it, the madness going on right now. When the middle class are completely, probably suffocated, they will react. Do you think that could be the last, the last bastion that's going to probably break the camel's back, possibly?
You've used the word react a few times in the course of this discourse tonight. And the one thing I have always avoided in my life, even as a child, I avoid reactions. Reactions are for little minds. People cannot sit down, imagine the future, prepare for that future, react. Because things happen to them. And when things happen to them, they react to what has happened. That has been the problem of the Nigerian middle class and the problem of those who have purported to seek a different path for Nigeria. We have all acted in a reactionary manner. And the Nigerian state is a well-practiced fascist entity that anticipates reactions. And it then has all sorts of scenarios that it has prepared in response to reactions. So the Nigerian middle class will react. It is already reacting. The question is, these reactions, are they reactions or are they responses? The job of those who purport to give leadership in the Nigerian left, those who believe that there is still a future for Nigeria, is to provide the capacity to respond instead of reacting. The Nigerian state is going to increase electricity tariff to intolerable positions this year. It will have to increase the cost of fuel. It's not about subsidy anymore. It's about all forms of taxations being levied on the Nigerian people in order to ensure that the rulers can be kept in style. The only people they are going to have to take this from would be the middle class. If the middle class is reactionary, because it does not have a culture of resistance, and it does not have a culture of thinking ahead in order to prepare, and the labor unions have sold out, they are ordinarily meant to be the thinking basis for that class. They're the ones who are meant to articulate the demands of the middle class and help it to synthesize its thoughts. But because the trade unions have been infiltrated since the 80s and have become mostly moribund. What is happening is that the government is allowed a clear playing field where it dictates what will happen, anticipates the reaction, deploys people that it has already planted in the labor union, those ones who issue demands. When they are done issuing demands, they will then be the same ones who will then ensure that the expected reactions are the ones that the government gets. And then the government will come and start pretending that it is offering, what do you call it now? Is offering relief. So the point that the government was always planning to land at is the point that the government will still land at because of the incapacity of the middle class to identify what it is in its own common interest, articulate it, and then plan its response. Because this government, let's be clear, this COVID thing, people are laughing and laughing up and down the place. We are going to go into another lockdown. Let that be clear to all of us. Nigeria will go into another lockdown before the end of this month, or at the latest by the first week of February. Question is this: do we have the capacity to take the economic shock of that
comes with that
lockdown? Do we? We don't. Now, who will take the cost of such a lockdown? The ruling class is not about to cut his cut. He's not interested in cutting his agbada at all.
No.
The only people that will pay will be the middle class. They are the ones who will lose their jobs. They are the ones who will lose their benefits. They are the ones who would have no hospitals to go by the time all this is shut down. The poor man has already resigned himself to his fate. He's fine with his agbo and everything. The question is this: who is articulating the middle class demand? Is it the NLC? Which one of those ones? So
see what they are doing to, look at what they are doing to Sowore. Because I was coming to the point whereby, would there be any time that everybody, because what they blame all of us for is that all we do is talk, even though we see those who genuinely challenge them being hauled into the different prisons as we speak. So when do you think people will actually find a common unifier that will make them take on the entire system? Or are we just going to continue to complain?
No, see, it's interesting you mentioned the person of Yele, although there is no way we would have had this discussion without at some point having to speak in relation to Yele's situation. Yorubas have a proverb: Oniti yaubati kari kokinto. I will translate for the benefit of your subscribers who might not speak our Ngbati. That simply means that when you have not democratized suffering, you really cannot mobilize against it. What is happening, as I was trying to explain with the analogy of us breaking into walls when we've been pushed to the wall, is that the Nigerian people, particularly our own generation and the generation before us, fella sang it. We not want die. We not want quench. Mama day for house. Papa day for house. I want build house. There is always a reason not to fight. That's how our generation was raised. But during this last EndSARS protest, I cottoned on to one reality, and that reality is that the only reason we didn't want to die is because we had hope. However illusory our hopes might have been, because some of us had hoped that Nigeria would be better. We saw a more glorious future. We saw ourselves as part and parcel of that glorious future. As bad as it was during the military era, it wasn't this bad. And we had reasons to hope. So because we had hopes, we didn't want to die. That's the truth. Our parents also had hopes in us. They had invested their hopes in us. So they too didn't want us to die. And we too, we had invested so much hope in our parents' hope that we also didn't want to die. But I saw something during the EndSARS protest. And what I saw which culminated in the state murders that took place at Lekki on the night of the 20th. And the account I heard from those who were on the scene, and I've spoken with at least 10 people who were there that night. What I found was that this generation actually have been violently robbed of hope. So because they've been robbed of hope, they are not actually afraid to die. That was the first thing I noticed in this generation, this EndSARS generation. The fear of death, which was essentially tied with the ropes of hope, is not in their generation. I saw a clip of a young man who had a soldier whip him. No, the soldier cocked his gun. He was going to shoot him. And the young man, instead of running away, jumped in front of the soldier and be like, kill me, EndSARS, Joe. The soldier didn't know what to do because the force of tyranny was broken. So the soldier brought out his whip and he gave the guy lashes from his koboko. The guy still refused to flinch. Now, I am not glorifying violence at all, but who is the violent person in that scene I just painted to you? The man who refused to run, or the man with the gun who reverted to his whip? So at the end of the day, you find that there is something in this generation. And what is in this generation that the Nigerian state needs to cut in on to very quickly is that this generation is not afraid to die because it has been robbed of hope. Now, the duty of those of us who believe that Nigeria can be better than it is right now is to find a way to ensure that that loss of hope does not become hopelessness. Because if it becomes hopelessness and it is anchored to the fear, to the loss of the fear of death, what then happens is that Nigeria is likely to descend into a spiral of violence, which will not augur well for anybody.
So is that, let me quickly add this, sir. Yeah. Is that really the worst fear of this? You have analyzed your own X-ray of this generation, and you have noticed that the things that scared your generation to, well, majority of your generation to hope, because you were not, your own hope were not really stolen. They were just possibly a mix of mirage and some other things. But this generation, you have identified the fact that they have seen through the lies, and the fear right now is if they refuse to be patient for that Nigeria to come, like your generation was patient, right? Is that actually the real fear of why they are so afraid of the young people to stand up? I mean, asking them to change their ways.
See,
That's the fear.
Let me. There are some issues that have been conflated. Let's unbundle them a little.
Okay.
One of the issues that has been conflated here is it's not as if our own generation had so much hopes. But the illusion of hope was strong in my generation. We had the euphoria of democracy in front of us. We had spent our youth fighting to get the military out of the way. And we were brought up in the belief that once democracy was achieved and we got the khaki boys out of power, we would be on our way to national integration and prosperity for all. So you could see that it was easy to convince people that there was hope in front of them. It took the coming of this democracy that we spent our youth pursuing, and for which several of us died, for which someone like Yele went to jail from, even that he almost died for when we was still that young. So we grew up on the fumes of the hope Abiola ran on hope in 1993. That was the peak of our youth. When that hope was denied in 1993, we all became militants. A lot of us died in pursuit of that hope. So we had hope. There was always hope. Even though the hope was not, so the hope wasn't something substantive. We had hope. The illusion is not unlike the present day religious nonsense going on in Nigeria, where people have been fed the illusion of hope, or shall I say the delusion of hope, when people can see that none actually exists where they are searching for it. So the issue really goes beyond whether this generation has less hope than our own generation. The only thing I can tell you is that this generation does not have any illusions to believe, because our own generation, we've exhausted the illusion. And we actually don't have any hope to give them, because what was given to us as hope are proven to be illusions. And these children watched us, struggled with the illusions that we were given. So they knew from watching us that it is only illusions that the system will promise and that it is incapable of delivering for them. That was the point where they began to realize that when they told them, okay, we've ended SARS, it's now SWOT, they couldn't believe it because they saw us being lied to. They knew that when we were told similar things, they proved to be lies.
Went to
So they knew better than to believe the lies that they were being told.
But now when they stand up, barrister, now when they stand up to question that same system that was never used to being questioned that way, people who have tried it in the past, they've either been killed or exiled. Unfortunately, by the way, some of the major actors in Yoruba land right now, they were once exiled for them asking for good governance, for this, for that. Now they have the chance today. They are now dishing out the same thing that exiled many of them back then. Now you are talking about this generation. So what will be the end result? I mean, these guys are not going to listen. This generation are going to get tired at some point. As you said, they are breaking into wars. Your generation and generation before you were breaking into wars. When you get pushed to the wall, you break into the war. Well, you can tell that this generation won't be breaking into many wars before they turn back. So what will be the end result? Where is that dream? Nigeria, who's going to change it?
See, Maegu, when I started out, there is something I've been trying to hammer on, and I'll continue hammering on that point. And
all right, okay. I think I'm being tough for you then. Okay.
No, my brother. This is how we get the best out of each other now. Iron sharpeneth iron. The fact of the matter is that whether Nigeria is redeemable or it descends into a spiral of violence would be a function of whether those of us who are busy making noise, people like me, the likes of Aisha, the likes of Yele, anyone who is speaking in relation to Nigeria, our challenge would be found in our capacity to imagine a different path forward and then mobilize this youth behind it. Because the danger is that if this hopelessness that they see, which is feeding their rage, if it becomes endemic to the point where they are not shown a better Nigeria and a better future, it then means that Nigeria would descend into a spiral of violence, because what are you showing them? They're already living in a violent existence. Less than, how many months ago? EndSARS.
2 months ago. I think we are having, okay, I think you're back. Great.
One of my younger comrades in the struggle. I'm sure you know Femi.
I know Femi. Yeah, Femi Adeyeye. The guy was rusticated for asking questions in Unilag too.
Yes, he was picked up and he was beaten, assaulted by the Nigerian policemen at Area C. So you have a situation where the Nigerian police has learned nothing from this, and it is incapable of learning anything from it because the message was lost on it, just as it has been lost on the Nigerian state. The institutional capacity to make the necessary changes to avert the trouble has not been made, and the capacity simply is not there. So we can sit down here, as I'm sitting down here, I can bellyache from now till kingdom come. There are sufficient basis for bellyaching. But until such a time as when we have managed to articulate a different way forward, behind which we can mobilize this young energy, and which gives them the hope that stops them from allowing themselves to descend into violence, what will happen eventually is that they will be pushed to the point where they will turn around, and the Nigerian state would have to decide just how many people is going to kill as it had killed at the Lekki toll gates, because it cannot sustain the system with violence. You cannot.
Let me put this to you. Yeah, let me put this to you, Barrister. You have been at the forefront, and most of you patriotic comrades who are pushing this, because me, like it is currently raging on the Twitter now. I am just here for the violence, and when I say the violence, I'm talking about anyone and everyone that is pretty much up and ready to team and collapse a system that is making me and you have them to have this conversation today. You know what I mean? A system that is pushing many already, right, in their millions, championing for total balkanization of Nigeria. A system that is pushing towards, even some people, whether genuinely or not, asking that this system is not working. We need to restructure it, right? But one thing, the system keeps giving back, like you said, is violence upon violence. You are known, many other people are known, even those who participated in the EndSARS protest. Few faces known and organizations known, their accounts frozen. Some people are now leaving Nigeria. So I would say, maybe because they haven't really come for you yet, because that's what the system does, okay? They come for you in a different way, until you probably choose either to go to jail or just leave the country. So what are we expecting this year? Because if you want things to change in any way, that means you have to increase the tempo. You are going to keep doing what you are doing, and then maybe we are going to have to say free daily referral to me too, or something else. What's the expectation? Because I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, brother, let's get something clear.
Great.
If the day ever comes that they come for Daily Faro TV, I beg all of you, don't forget this one that I'm telling you. Let nobody beg anybody to free Daily Faro TV. They shouldn't free me. They should not free me at all. Allow me and them to enjoy my holiday with them. At least now who do something good, they fear them. I don't get any worry about those ones. So let's get that clear first. Let nobody beg anybody to free me. I've done nothing to be worried about. If they keep me, if it pleases God that I travel home from there, so be it. So let's keep that one to one side. Now, let me answer the substantive question that you have asked. In this year, 2021, I expect that all these questions, the substantive question of what is the way forward for the Nigerian people, would be answered in this 2021.
And your expectation of their reaction, because they will react.
Is that by the end of that process, the 1999 Constitution will be gone. By the end of that process, my expectation is that by the end of that process, a constitution that is reflective of the wish of the Nigerian people would have been put before them for their consideration and their adoption. Let me be clear. Anyone waiting for Buhari and the coterie of thieves at the National Assembly to change Nigeria are merely fooling themselves. I'm not interested in reactions. I'm interested in responses. The clear fact on the ground is that the Nigerian Constitution of 1999 is a fraudulent document that does not flow from the Nigerian people. It is not just that it does not flow from the Nigerian people, it has proven to be completely and utterly useless as a guide to the future for anyone except for the Nigerian rulers. When it has come to that point, instead of talking EndSARS, I am talking end the 1999 Constitution. The 1999 Constitution is what enables iniquitous, wicked, evil institutions such as SARS to exist in the first place. It is the reason why even if you change his name to SWAT, if you like, change his name to Gabriel, change the name of the Nigerian police to Mayegun, it doesn't change anything. It's still the Nigerian police. It is a function of what it was designed to do. So as long as the system of injustice remains, you are merely wasting time when you are talking about the occupiers of the offices created by the system, because each and every one of them will function exactly as they are designed to function within the system. So if you are busy complaining about the fruit of the tree, you need to wrap your brains around the fact very quickly that the actual problem is not the fruits, is the tree. Remove the damn tree and plant the tree that you want to produce the fruit.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think, yeah, we can hear you now.
Please. Yeah. When you have removed the tree, you can then proceed to enjoy the fruit that you set out to eat. But if you are still stood in front of the mango, you have a mango tree, and you are complaining about you want oranges. If you don't remove that stupid tree and plant the orange tree, you are not going to get orange fruits. So we can sit down and be complaining about how bad things are until you remove that evil document called the 1999 Constitution. You're wasting your time, because SARS cannot be ended as long as that document exists. The iniquitous system under which we all labor will also not end unless that system is replaced. So as far as I'm concerned, 2021 is a year of clarity. The totality of my own exertion in 2021 will be to end the 1999 Constitution. It will be to show the Nigerian people.
Sorry, we missed your point there. Yeah, it's back. Your voice is back again. Please continue.
Yeah, I say it is critical that we let them know why it is important that that Constitution be ended. It is where the real problems are coming from. And you know, the amazing part of the whole thing is that we all seem to forget that those who are benefiting from this in Abuja, all those Omo Agege, all these Baja and the rest of them, they are sat somewhere already planning to take the storm, to take the thunder out of our storm. All those of us who are busy shouting this 1999, because they are busy with their own amendments that they are planning. They'll just come and say, okay, we have restructured Nigeria. We who are talking restructuring, what does our restructuring look like? We need to show it to the people. What does the future look like?
That is where I'm talking about that coordination. You know what I'm talking about? I can bring you on here. I can bring Aisha Yusuf. I can bring Sowore. We can continue to hammer opinions here and there. When is that coordination going to go there? I missed him. I mean, sorry, I lost him there. I will bring him back if we have another 10-15 minutes with Barrister Dele Faro TV. I wanted to ask him that in what way are they going to bring all these different ideas, all of them together, coordinate the young people, stage a bigger march that will indeed possibly make them agree to change the constitution? Because I too believe that if the constitution of Nigeria, that fake 1999 constitution, is trashed, I strongly believe that when a new one is written, because what I understand about writing a constitution means that people need to come together to say they are forming a country. So therefore, every tribe, every ethnic group, and everyone will be acknowledged to have agreed to form a new country by writing a new constitution. Do you get that now? And in that constitution, you can decide to put your referendum there. You can put anything there that if you're agree, I mean, if we become part of this, in so time for choose to go away, we will run a referendum, yes or no. If that is part of the new beginning, that's why I'm a bit kind of interested in the constitutional change, if that will happen, ever happen. Okay, but unfortunately, I have lost Barrister Dele Farotimi there. But again, just before we wait, if I'm going to ever get him back, yeah, I want to take you to Ghana. Something happened in Ghana today. Well, they were choosing their own house of, I don't even know if I put that up. I think I didn't put that up. Okay, I'll show that with you the next time I'm back on Mayegun's diary, probably tomorrow. Many of you have seen the video where the Ghanaian National Assembly, they were electing their own speaker. And before you know it, the other party, like some of them probably graduated from Nigeria, Nigerian political class. So they started beating themselves. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know if that would be clear enough. One sec. Let's see. Ghana House of Representatives. They were electing their own. They were electing their speaker of House of Representatives, and before you know it, they were casting their votes, and before you know it, boom, they've started throwing shares, started attacking themselves, and the end result is, I don't know. Just like you have hoodlums in Nigeria, you have hoodlums in Ghana, you have hoodlums in America. The whole story, I'm putting them together, and I'm going to share them with you sometimes later. But I've got Barrister Dele Farotimi back on the line. We have about 15, 20 minutes to go off his time. We lost you again, dear Barrister. I know I'm also looking at the time. I'm going to just spend another 10 minutes with you. I know you are, you are a really busy person, and the little time we have. So I was going to ask you that, we can continue. You can continue to feature. Feature on different programs, home and abroad, because this also works. By the way, there are people who are watching who are indeed learning too, and they are also probably positioning themselves or finding where they will fit in the whole struggle, trying to understand what is this all about. Those who wants to have their own country, they are not agreeing with those who believe that the system is rotten and therefore, right, it should be changed. So the misunderstanding is so bad that only if we can have this coordination, you know what I'm talking about, that we can't have another country in Nigeria without a referendum. We can't have a referendum in Nigeria without a new constitution. So then those who disagree with you about a new constitution will actually be doing themselves a terrible injustice, because what they are looking for is buried in what you and many people are. So when is that coordination going to ever come, where this education, awareness, all of these things of this generation, people will begin to coordinate there. People will begin to use their influence to do the coordination, and we can make this happen so fast. That was going to be my question before the cutoff.
Yeah, you see, Michael, because we are men, and we have our lifespans are necessarily time bound. We are creatures in time, so we are always in a hurry, and we condense time pretty quickly, and time is actually truly going. I didn't have a year ago, my head was not nappy. Now it's all, but that's the truth. It only takes a little time for things to change, and sometimes it changes so quickly, and then we're all gone. So people are right to be as impatient as they are, and I am also very impatient to see changes in Nigeria. But there is something about which I am also very optimistic. I'm optimistic about the chances of change in Nigeria because of the things I saw in October. I saw enough from the youth of this country to give me hope about a future for Nigeria if our own generation shall have fulfilled our own purpose, because our own purpose really is to offer the coming generation clarity. We have to offer them a clear path into that future. That people are quarreling and squabbling over the way forward. Some people like myself are suggesting a new constitution. Other people are saying, no, the solution is in breaking it up. All of us would have our different ideas, but the challenge of my own generation is to find a way to synthesize our different ideas so that we are not speaking over. Yeah, I'll come to that. You know, we're all called to different ministries in this struggle. I don't have Yele's temperament, for instance, but without Yele being who he is, there is no way I can do what I'm doing. Anything that I am saying, Yele is saying exactly the same thing, and there is nothing Yele is saying that I'm not saying. I'll go as far as to say that even Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, there is exactly nothing that I am saying that he is also not saying. We don't talk to each other, we don't know ourselves, but because truth is constant and the grievances are essentially the same, we will be speaking from the same places, but we might be profiling different paths into the future. Now, during the EndSARS protest, it was Nwanya, our brother in Canada, that first pointed me in that direction. Said, did I hear what Mazi said on Dele Momodu's show? I said I hadn't heard. He then prompted me for that. So I went to listen. And I actually heard Mazi Nnamdi Kanu speaking to Nigerian unity because of the strength of example shown by the EndSARS protesters. So that will tell you that the Nigerian situation is not quite intractable if we can find common purpose. And what is the common purpose? The person seeking Biafra, the person seeking Oodua Republic, whatever anyone might be seeking is all actually a quest for citizenship, is a quest for equality. Each and every one of the agitations that has battered the demands for one homeland out of Nigeria or the other is a demand for equality. If Nigeria will not offer me a chance to be a citizen, let me go to my tribe. At least my home will not deny me citizenship. So you'll find very quickly that nobody really wants to break up Nigeria, but they are responding to the institutional injustices. And you cannot tell a man not to protest the injustice that he is the one feeling. But the point I have sought to make to each and every one of my fellow Nigerians who are as aggrieved as I am is that even the utopia that you are seeking is easier to find if we first of all save this Nigeria. Because every Nigerian is actually aggrieved about Nigeria right now. So it is easier to agree that this is not working. Let's find a different path forward. Because each and every person is already aggrieved. The man in Katsina is getting killed. Kankara is not in Ijesha land. He's in Katsina. Kankara is not in Ijesha. I'm from Imesile. Kankara is not part of Ijesha land. Kankara is not going to be found in Obokun division. Kankara is not in Igbo land. It's not in Biafra. Kankara is in the home state of the daughters that is pretending to rule Nigeria. And it happened. So the parent in Kankara, he understands the pain of the man in Enugu, but they are speaking different languages because their grievances are not exactly the same. It's flowing from the same evil stream. All of us are standing in front of the mango trees. The mango trees in Kankara is different from the mango tree in Ohafia. It's different from the mango tree in Ekpe. But it is the same bloody mango tree. Each and every one of us, we are united by the commonality of our grievances, but we are not coordinating our grievances, so we are unable to speak with one voice. The challenge of those of us who believe that Nigeria can still be saved is to find a way to start speaking across the channels so that where are the voices of good conscience in the northern part of Nigeria?
I was coming to that. I wanted to let you learn, barrister.
No.
You know,
I'm not
let me push it. Let me put it to you then. I'm sorry to cut you short, right? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to put it to you because I wanted you to finish. But you mentioned people of good conscience from northern Nigeria, and I'm like, are you not seeing around that those who are publicly, genuinely pushing for all we have been discussing, they are mostly southerners? So where are the northerners? Here you are. Please take it on, sir.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
Our Papa, they will say that anything about the person who hasn't been to another man's father's farm will say his father's farm is the largest in the land until he visits another man's father's land. I have a friend. He's from Bauchi State, a young friend. I met that friend on Facebook. And we were chatting at the peak of the EndSARS protest. And he told me, he said, oh, Buhari sent a minister to Bauchi to come and thank them for not protesting. He said when they got to the function, he stood up to talk. So he told the minister, don't tell the president he needn't send us thanks. He need not thank us. It's not that we too didn't want to protest, but if we stayed outside for 3 days, what would we eat? Unlike our brothers in the south, who can protest for weeks on end. The people of, let me not even begin the argument yet. So he told him, tell Buhari, don't bother thanking us. It's not that we don't want to protest, but we simply can't afford to. That's one. The second thing, we don't understand the issues. And our people don't understand the issues. So now, let me now bring it home for you. Okay. Before the British came to Nigeria to found the misadventure they call Nigeria, there were two Muslim empires in the northern part of Nigeria, the Kanem Borno Empire and the Sokoto Caliphate. Both were feudal systems. They thrive on the pauperization of their populace and the weaponization of ignorance. They have existed for centuries. The vast horde of the northern part of Nigeria have been subjected to centuries of weaponized ignorance and weaponized poverty. Their capacity to understand the issues, the way we in the South are able to understand it, are not the same. Vast majorities of the people in the northern part of Nigeria do not even understand the issues. That is why religion has been weaponized there, and instead of reasoning things out, they pray things out. So when we turn around and we say, where are the good men of good conscience in the north? We must first of all understand that they don't have 2 generations of people in the north who have gone to school who are not members of the feudal class. The current system preserves their powers. It is only a few that will speak amongst that populace, but the people themselves are ready for change. Now, the job of those of us from the South is to search out the men of good conscience in the northern part of Nigeria because they are there. We speak over their heads. We speak down at them. We speak in languages they can't hear because of our own lack of intelligence. Most of the time, we fail to see what we need to see. And then we speak about the North as though we are talking about one monolithic entity. In speaking about the North as though it were to be one monolithic entity, we miss out on a lot of people we should be speaking with whose grievances mirrors our own. The man in the Benue Trough, the TV man, the Idoma, how is he benefiting from this oppressive system? He used to. There was a point when the illusion of a monolithic North was advantageous to the Benue man. There was a time when it was advantageous to the Taraba man. There was a time when it was advantageous to the Plateau man. There was a time when you did not know the difference between the Zulu man and the Hausa man. It is only now that you are hearing of the Middle Belt because the system of injustice has been democratized. But if it has become like that, what are we who presume to have superior intelligence, stupid presumptions. What have we done with it? How many people have we reached out to in that part? How many times have we spoken of them and captured those people who should be on our side and lump them together? Please, how northern are the people of Southern Kaduna? Exactly how northern are they feeling right now? How much of a northerner do you think the people in Katsina themselves are feeling right now? That's the president's home state. So what I am pointing out is this. The divisions are there, nonetheless, as much as one might seek to find the unity. The divisions are clear, they are there. But it behooves those of us who know better to search out other voices. My own challenge in this year, especially in this first quarter of this year, is to reach out, not just the North. What about Igbo land? What about the land of the Biafrans? What about the land of the Jaws? But you see, we might want to run away from speaking about ethnic nationalities so that we do not encourage these ethnic schisms. But the reality is that the Nigerian state does not recognize citizenship. It deals with ethnic nationalities and then it aggregates their rights and interests. Some people will speak for me, Oladele Tomilola Farotimi, and say they are speaking for the Yorubas. And these are people who I will not appoint my poultry manager. And they will speak on my behalf because the Nigerian state does not want to hear my voice. It prefers to hear the voice of those it can bribe. That's why it was looking for the leaders of the EndSARS protest so that it can bribe them. It prefers to deal with aggregates instead of dealing with persons. So the point is that it is up to us to find the other people in the different parts. But to find them, we must also educate ourselves as to who are we finding.
That's
We
right.
can't find the person that we have already erroneously lumped together with those who are correctly
one untouchable group. I think I'm going to agree with you on that 100% because even as many people will agree that the union is not working, the union and whatever was promised then has failed, right? One way or the other, to break it up, we seems to also going to need one another too to make that happen, right? Because like you said, reaching out means that before now, it will make sense if when they were all enjoying the monolithic North, like you said, where you couldn't really differentiate between a Benue man and a Fulani man and all of that. But now that has changed over time, whereby they have now democratized injustice. So we should now be smarter enough to know that it is time for us to seek out those who are currently trapped and they are waiting to be welcomed. I'm going to agree with you on that. Like that actually makes a lot of sense. Honestly speaking, it does. Please go on.
Mayego, there is something that I found, maybe because I was always the tiniest boy in my schools. I was very young when I was sent off to.
Well, you don't look tiny, Baba.
No, I've grown, of course. Somebody has grown cheeks, old age has come. But when I was in secondary school, I was always the tiniest boy. Even when I was in Form 5, I still was probably the tiniest boy in my school. I was 14, tiny, very like a runt. I was forced to learn the language of reconciliation because I couldn't fight anyone anyway. I was too tiny to fight anyone. If I presume to get angry, they'll beat me. If they got angry, they'll beat me. So everybody took a lot of pleasure in slapping little me around. So I learned very quickly that it was more beneficial for me to learn to speak to angry people. So I learned at a very early age to listen to people and in hearing them, perhaps figure out what they need and be able to offer them what they need in place of what they were demanding. So it was easier to find middle grounds once we listened to ourselves. And what I have found is that none of the utopian demands for breakup of Nigeria is achievable within our current context peacefully. Let me explain what I mean by that. The Nigerian state has been structured in a way that is not structured for the protection of citizens. It is structured for the retention of the state and the protection of the rulers. So when you engage it with demands such as the one for a referendum that is clearly designed to lead to a cessation of that state of being, what you can expect is an institutional readiness to inflict violence. Now, the Nigerian state was willing to tolerate the EndSARS protesters for as long as they were not demanding citizenship. When the demand crossed over into citizenship demand, that was when the violence was brought. Now, when you look around Nigeria, you find very quickly that forget all these breakdowns into artificial divisions. Nigerians are actually united in accepting that the system is not working. Our grievances are national in nature. Practically every part of Nigeria is complaining. The only people that are not complaining are the rulers, because they are the ones that are benefiting. There is no part of Nigeria you travel to that the people are not complaining. But even though the people are complaining, there is a class failure. It's a failure of the middle class, because the traditional trade unions come out of that class.
Right.
The traditional visionaries of a new Nigeria usually come, of any new nation, would usually come out of his middle class and his upper middle class, even though it will be facilitated by members of the economic elite. Usually, the engine room of thought is in the middle class. The leadership for change is to be found in the middle class as well. But the Nigerian middle class has become so existential that it has proven itself incapable of providing the leadership to take us into that future. Now, we are at a critical point where those of us who have come to believe that it is still possible to pull away from that precipice, we have to articulate our visions. What I have sought to do, because I realize that we are not a country where people, we don't have too many platforms for dissemination of ideas. So what I have resolved to do is I write and I share my thoughts. I'm finishing a second book that I expect to publish this month, or worst case scenario next month. And what is it about? It's about exactly what we are discussing. What's the way forward? The first book I wrote, I annexed a constitution. This one that I'm finishing, I have an entire section on non-violent protest and non-violent pacifism as a method of protest, because we need to get to the point where we understand, one, mobilize the people behind an idea. The idea this year is end the 1999 Constitution. But if you say end the 1999 Constitution, what are you mobilizing them behind? If all you are saying is end it, you are an anarchist.
What's going to be next?
But when you put an alternative on the table, behind which you are mobilizing the people even as you are demanding the end of one, that is what is called a revolution, a turnaround. My sole interest in Nigeria in 2021 is to see the Nigerian revolution. But that revolution for me must be peaceful. But it will not be peaceful if the people are not adequately educated as to what you are. If you are calling people to a cause, you have a duty to articulate the cause.
Why they're not getting involved?
You have a duty to articulate the method. I have no other call for the Nigerian people this year beyond the revolution. But that revolution,
but there's a problem of, I don't know if you have noticed that too. Well, you must have, which seems to be a very serious one. It is the problem of trust. Nigerians, I don't know if this has to do with my generation or the generation after mine, right? But I don't know if you have observed that even when you have a very good intention, as much as Nigerians as they are in Nigeria don't trust the criminals in power, they don't even trust those who want to face those criminals in power. How do you think you're going to weather that? I'll be interested in you sharing that.
I do not blame the Nigerian people for their skepticism. They have been seriously shafted without gelling, no Vaseline, nothing. The Nigerian people have been serially abused and their trust dashed on so many occasions that they are perfectly within their right to withdraw their trust from anyone. I can understand that. Anyone who comes out in Nigeria today and say, trust me, I'm not trusting the person. Prove yourself trustworthy and the people will follow you. Prove yourself. Prove yourself trustworthy. Let the people know exactly where you are, what you stand for. Be clear in your intentions and be intentional in what you do. The Nigerian people are not gullible again because they've been slapped too many times. It's actually easier for them to believe in a pastor that tells them to enter Shalanga in Lagos to come out in Berlin. They find that easier than to believe an activist who tells them this is the way forward, because they've seen so many activists speak at one end and come out at the other end completely different from the representations they made in the first place. So this is not a call to trust. Don't trust anybody. Verify. That's what you need to do. Yes, now if I'm saying to you 2023 is a lie, 2021 we need to do whatever we need to do, I must then be able to tell you how I expect that we'll do that thing. When I put it on the table, I must also be willing to show you by example. If I'm asking you to do something, I must show you that I'm willing to do the same for myself. If I'm telling someone that, look, the best way forward is a boycott, I mustn't be seen positioning myself to derive some gain or the other from the position I had called other people to adopt.
Exactly. That's another thing I wanted to add too. Sorry to cut you short again. I'm so sorry. It seems to be intermittent. It's because of our connection, okay? However, what I wanted to say is that the fight for what we call freedom from what is not working from us, what is not working for us, right, should be, in a way, selfless, no competition. I've seen people who got caught up in this. I am the leader. No, you are not the leader. I'm supposed to be this, that kind of a thing. This pushed so many people back, and you can tell. So even during the EndSARS protest, they did well to continue to say we have no leader. But the power towards you around that. And I keep telling people that you have 1 million people who listen to you. It is a grace, and you are doing something to support the cause that will free others. It shouldn't be a competition, right? So, what do you think your own reaction will be? Because now I'm going to be looking out for Barrister Dele Farotimi's push. We've always been seeing you do that, but we have these people, other people who could do the same, but with this mentality of maybe I should be the center of attraction in a way. What would be your own view on that?
Well, we had that same, you know that glitchy thing. It came up, but I got the first part of the question, which was where you are talking about the unhealthy tussle and jostle for leadership in what should ordinarily be a liberation movement. Let me explain this. You in human relationships, egos will always pop to the surface, and you must also understand that the Nigerian state is interested in doing whatever it can to divide the ranks of those who might seek to unite against its hegemony. It is the duty of each and every one of us to understand the commonalities of our goals and then allow our egos to disappear. I have sought at every point in time to show by example that as long as we're traveling in the same direction, I seek to lead nobody aside from myself. Because if you haven't even led yourself, you can't lead anyone else. I am a part of a much larger whole. If I hear Aisha call for something, I will automatically join what she's calling for because I know that we are traveling to the same place.
That's right.
If I hear Yele traveling in a particular direction, demonstrably, I'll follow him in that direction. Where I'm going, I've always been clear. I've never been shy about letting everybody know exactly what my thoughts are related to Nigeria and where I think we should be heading. I leave nobody in any doubt as to exactly where I am at any point in time. And I think that has helped me to avoid the worst of this thing that you have rightly pointed out. I've never had any problem with anyone.
Because I've seen many, you know, we all see all this big bad here and there, and you're like, what is all this? What is all this rivalry? And you guys, can't you really see through all this? It's not about you. And I'm like, this is 2021. Yeah, the trouble, the violence have already started everywhere. They have already started here and there.
Yes,
But
I tell my people at the end of the day, I don't waste my bullets on my friends. It's a waste of time. I keep my bullets for my enemies. I can have, I can disagree with my friends. We can argue. But I will not waste my bullet on my friend. It's a waste of my bullet. Keep my bullet for my enemies. Why?
And that's how it should be.
No, but that's the way it has to be now.
That's how it has to be. I know, but you know one thing, I'm going to release. I'm going to let you go in a moment, okay? We have spoken about a lot of things, and I'm going to go watch this video myself after this broadcast. You've left out.
I need to interrupt you for a second. Because we kept talking about a whole lot of things. We've not really addressed the issue of Yele's incarceration.
I was actually coming there to say we have spoken about many things, and this last 10 minutes, I just want to leave that to you to please shed your own opinion.
I would like to touch on that.
Please.
And this is, somebody asked me a few days ago, said, why is it always Yele? And I answered the person, and I think it is very relevant for all of us to hear this. It is always Yele because Yele does not know how to be anything less than human. He doesn't know how to... Even I used to quarrel with him over this. The only grounds I ever had with him was that he was somewhat tempestuous, for want of a better word. It's almost as if Yele is a magnet for trouble. But in recent times, I've learned that Yele is not a magnet for trouble. Trouble in Nigeria comes to everyone who refuses to instinctively embrace slavery. Once you are not willing to diminish yourself physically and spiritually before the oppressive system naturally sees you because you are the only one who hasn't bowed your head in his presence. So the thing about Yele is that Yele is incapable of shrinking in front of evil. He stands tall. So in standing tall, he draws attention to himself. But we should all be glad that it has pleased God to make Yele a bellwether, because he stands there. And when they go after him, if you open your eyes and you truly look, you see that each time they've gone after Yele is because he offends their sense of the right to oppress. What did he do? Yele has been in Abuja now. He's been in government custody since August of last year. They left him.
It's August 2019.
It's 2019.
That's right.
Then they pretended to take him to court. The Nigerian judiciary is just a painful disgrace sometimes. So a man has been on a trumped up charge now he's been restricted to Abuja under very onerous and wicked bail conditions. And then you arrest this man for being at a candlelight procession. And then a magistrate would give such a long adjournment for bail because, see, we've gotten to a point where, why I said we need to talk about Yele is because I think it's gotten to that point where we need to move beyond talking about our judiciary as though it is peopled by ghosts. We need to start mentioning the names of those who are collaborating with this system in the name of administration of justice. The judge responsible for Yele's presence in Abuja on those onerous bail terms has a name. We should start talking about them. The magistrate who has kept that man, I don't know, I've switched off for like a few hours today, and I don't know if Yele is out yet, but the magistrate, the entire system responsible for keeping him the way he is right now, we need to be looking at ourselves and honestly telling ourselves that this is sick. It is completely sick. Yele might be the one that they are clamping in cells, but if we really look at ourselves, we realize that we are the ones in prison. We are really the ones in prison.
I told people, I said everyone is Yele Sowore.
But that's the reality. He hasn't done anything. There is nothing Yele has done that should have him in a prison cell or that should have his freedom curtailed. This is the same country where they are de-radicalizing monsters. But if you really look at it, you would look, it's a simple thing. If you want to see the Nigerian terrorists, look for those demanding citizenship. Under Trump in America, if you want to see the American terrorists, look to the people demanding rights. It is the hallmark of every repressive regime to demonize dissent and then criminalize just demands for rights. Black Lives Matter couldn't have done what happened in Washington, D.C. yesterday. There would have been a bloodbath. And look, what did Yele do? Can't do. What did we do at Lekki? Flag and national anthem.
Flag and anthem.
So it is those demanding rights of oppressive systems that are deemed terrorists. The more oppressive a system is, the more it reacts violently to demands for equalities and rights. So Yele is not the problem in Nigeria. Buhari is the problem. The system that will keep Yele in confinement, that system is the problem. Both the judges, the magistrates responsible for that, they are the problems. But this is where we are for now.
I told people, I said, the problem is not even just Buhari alone. You just mentioned the system. And that is where I want you to give me that roundup. Please.
If you blame it on Buhari,
Buhari will go now.
Anyone who is even blaming this on Buhari is either being fraudulent or intellectually incompetent. A man has to have the capacity before you can blame anything on him. How do you blame pregnancy on an impotent man? How?
Yeah.
How do you blame
that would be a hard one. No, that would be a hard one.
How do you blame pregnancy on an impotent man?
That would be a tough one.
Exactly.
Or a setup.
Buhari is incapable of having this discussion you and I are having. Buhari has not proven himself capable of having a lucid 5-minute conversation in the last 4 or 5 years. He has not had a single robust engagement in public in all, at least in the last 4 or 5 years. Not one public engagement, robust like this, have a discussion that suggests that the man is compos mentis. I refer to him as a ventriloquist doll. You know the ventriloquist show?
Please tell me.
Ventriloquist is Osoyin, what Yorubas call Osoyin. Somebody must be talking before the door will talk. Buhari is incapable of any original thinking. So how do you blame the failures of Nigeria on Buhari? Buhari is not in
I
charge.
even told,
blame the system.
Sorry about that, Barrister. I said the system, just like I said, the system.
Yes.
Because even when Buhari is gone, even if they give us Chief Chukwuemeka Nnaji or President Chukwuemeka Nnaji, they will still shoot Biafrans who are demanding for Biafra. Soldiers will still arrest them and still shoot everybody, even though the person is Igbo man. But my friends agree too. Go on.
Go and write it down. If they make Nnamdi Kanu, let them make Mazi Nnamdi Kanu the president of this unjust Nigerian state tomorrow. They will still shoot the Igbo at Obi Igbo. It's a system.
Which is right.
The system is in place and it is structured to do something. Until you have taken care of that evil system, the situation remains the same. So that system is what we need to be focused on. It's not Buhari. Buhari will go. Whether he likes it or not, it's like Trump. Eventually he will go. 8 years, that'll be no problem. But when Buhari is gone, what follows? Another disaster. If we have actually kept our eyes open, we would understand that we started with Obasanjo, incredibly talented man when it comes to the capacity for thinking, but completely amoral and incapable of thinking about everybody except himself. He only ever thinks of himself. So that one, he ran around for 8 years. He wasted 8 years. He didn't do anything substantive in 8 years. Nothing to build on. He didn't even plan his own succession. He left. They brought Yaradua. He brought Yaradua. Yaradua brought the same Obasanjo's disaster. His failure to plan his succession brought GEJ. That hubris brought the person they had all run. They ran away from this same Buhari since 1984, 85. They ran away from him. They knew how horrible a human being he was in his first time. But they had no choice but to go and bring him back again because of their error with GEJ. So when people are sitting down and trying to blame this on Buhari, it's because they want us to take our eyes off the system so that another one of these criminals will come in 2023
and inherit the system again.
And inherit the same system. Nothing will change.
And that's the cycle. That is the cycle that some of our members of my own generation are trying to break now, and that's why we are going to really be more checked. I want to keep. See, I love keeping people like you around, because the inspiration you have on this generation cannot be under quantified. For those who knows it, you get that now. But for those who don't yet, they would know that the only way to get out of this myriad of problem of Nigeria is to talk about it. I keep saying that. With those who support one Nigeria and they believe that the system is rigged and it needs to go, right? With those who don't believe in the system, believe in one Nigeria, everybody will still have to have a conversation. So if you are, for the last 2 minutes before you go tonight, sir, I want you to give me a bit of a sort of a closing message, something we can take away from this conversation. And I'm going to be looking forward to the next time I'm going to have you again, sir.
Thank you very much. As usual, it's been a pleasure talking with you. But what I would say, what I would like to leave with each and every one of us as we live tonight is this. The easiest way to Biafra, for those who want to travel to Biafra, and the easiest road to Oodua Republic, for those seeking that destination, still remains through a united, peaceful Nigeria. If we found a way to unite Nigeria and you still want your demand, you still want to go, it becomes easier to have a peaceful discussion that will lead to a peaceful exit. But if we allow ourselves to be pushed into the era of a binary vision where we are unable to see the commonalities of the problem, and we just say, we are going. The moment it becomes that, a lot of people who should ordinarily be our allies are turned off. It then means that the discussion that should be had peaceably would become a discussion that will be had in an atmosphere of strife. I'm not suggesting that the person asking for a homeland is the one looking for trouble. That's not my suggestion. But the people who are at Lekki Toll Gate that evening, they had only flags. They had only their national anthems that they were singing. The Nigerian state could not accommodate them, even in their peaceful demands. It brought the violence. The Nigerian state is always the one who brings violence. So I'm simply saying to all of us that a non-violent posture is actually not a cowardly, it's not a position for cowards. It's a position for brave men. If we are united behind a quest for a better Nigeria, and we can all agree on a common platform of engagement, let the system bring its traditional violence. It will not endure, for the simple reason that those who guard them, who are holding the guns, they are us. They are our brothers, our sisters. Go and see the condition under which this same police that is busy biting everybody, under the condition they are living. I have friends who are in the police, classmates whom I went to university with. If they have to live on their salaries, they can't feed their families. The quarters where they live, their welfare, their lives are not pleasant at all. But we have also failed in our duty to communicate. We have been speaking over people's head. This has to change in 2021. We need to speak to ourselves. We need to find the common purpose behind which to unite. It is only after we have united behind that common purpose that we can move this system. This system will not move for as long as we remain as fractious as we are. It thrives on dividing us. We need to unite ourselves. We have to close ranks. It is only when we've closed our ranks that we can successfully defeat this system. Thank you very much.
I am so grateful that even though we started on a bit of stumpy ground, but we finally ended on a pretty much brilliant note. Thank you so much, Barrister. I am so used to this impromptu unbooked discussion. It's just this thing that once I'm reading, probably I'm on Twitter and I'm reading all your fire brand and all of them, like, I want to have a chat with Barrister Dele. Maybe we should have it tonight, even though I should be booking it. So thank you so much for the honor and for coming on.
Anytime.
It's been a pleasure. Anytime. Enjoy the rest of today, and I would love to see you again. Happy New Year.
Anytime. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Barrister. Nice one. So that is Barrister. Good one, sir. Barrister Dele Farutimi. So to all of you, my friends, on Mayegun's Diary, do not let us, I believe many of us enjoy the conversation, okay? You see, we should not turn ourselves to people who are so kind of lost to believe that they don't have to listen to other people. By listening to them, you are likely going to realize that you are actually fighting for the same thing. Being said differently does not take away from the fact that everyone agrees that the system is not working. So you don't have to agree with people. But when it comes to you fighting a rigged system, an evil system that is put together just to what? To work against you. And like he said, until they democratize sufferings, killings, poverty, and so many other things, many of those who are currently staying apart, staying aloof, I'm not concerned, many of them will not stand up too. And by having conversation around it, you are likely going to find the real comrade, the people. And he also mentioned something about generalizing, using this monolithic North to describe the entire North. we also need to educate. I'm going to work on that myself. I know that I do my best to break things down for my, for so many of you, my viewers. But I think I'm going to need to go to school again to read more, so as for you to know that there are people trapped in that northern Nigeria, just like many people are trapped in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria. But we are using the same brush to paint them. From my own research, I have found out that, the northern Nigeria is not Fulani only. The northern Nigeria is not just northern Nigeria of all Muslims. No. Do you get that now? So from these researches, we'll begin to identify some people who are trapped. They want to be part of that liberation. They used to enjoy one Nigeria, but they no longer enjoy it. But every time you call them northerners, they feel so bad enough that they get pushed back. The northern Nigeria you are talking about is killing them. The southern Nigeria that they believe that people are much compassionate and much probably they have feelings, they are humans. In southern Nigeria, the southern Nigerians are now demonizing everybody from northern Nigeria. So we should begin to look into all of these things. There are variables that are like the missing link of how to build a real great movement that can indeed change a system that is not working for everyone. Don't let us be so block-minded. I am not block-minded. That's why I will speak about Biafra. I will speak about, Christians, speak about Muslims, speak about the North, speak about the South, speak about everywhere that I believe human beings are feeling the brunt and the repercussion of, or the consequences of the criminals in power. We talk to people, we get to learn from ourselves. You build bridges, you build networks, because you realize that you are all fighting for the same thing. You may not see it that way, but you are likely going to get to know that later too. But with time and with the continuation of your conversations like this, you are likely going to end up agreeing too. But don't be rude. Don't be so rude. You know what I'm talking about? When you see people you disagree with, don't be rude. Don't call them names. They believe that you are amazing people. And then that's why they want to have be on our platform, on Mayegun's Diary platform. Don't be horrible to people because you don't like what they are saying or because you disagree with them. I was reading some comments and they were really heartbreaking. I decided to just ignore them. Be matured enough to know that, yes, Nigeria is not working. And people who are trapped in there, that you feel for, that you believe that, we should do it this way, we should do it that way. We will do it in everyone's way once everyone begins to respect everyone's pain. But, I hope they democratize the whole thing long enough. So I believe I've got my friends who are not really keen about clicking on that like button. I like the fact that Franklin is asking you to smash that like button if you enjoyed the conversation tonight. How can we have nearly 1,000 people and only 200 of you were able to say, well, this is good. Even if you don't like it, click on that thumbs down button, react, show some love, especially if you enjoy your time on Mayegun's Diary tonight. I'm going to see you again, possibly tomorrow night if I'm not too tired. I'm back to work tomorrow. Thanks so much for your time. I will see you again. Until then, remember, stay safe. Good night.
Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Máyégún máa bí. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Presido bá rúfin o. Máyégún máa bí. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Kíkó nìna kówó jẹ. Máyégún máa bí. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá. Máyégún máa bí. Àní ẹ̀sùnra kì í. aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
ayé ṣọ́ra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
òkúra olóṣèlú.
Máyégún máa wí.
ayé ṣọ́ra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ṣọ́ra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
ayé ṣọ́ra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ṣọ́ra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ṣọ́ra kì í. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ṣọ́ra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ṣọ́ra kì í. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé.